Hey, so as you can see, I'm coming out pretty hard with a lot of content, and a lot of it's getting pretty rough and not polished. And I think that's the way it's going to just have to be. I'm doing this all on my own. So if there's like some kind of content editor, anybody wants to like take the point on this, that'd be super cool. See, what I do is I'm really good with people, I'm really good with theory, really good with research, really good with the content, really good at the selling. And then this whole stuff here, finishing this up, man, I can go on for on and on and on forever. I've been thinking about this since 1995, the Church Now, and the whole concept, and it's just been I've been reading ever since. Ever since I read the Celestine Prophecy, I think that was the thing that started it, and it hasn't stopped since. So I'm gonna just kind of give you a little bit of a rundown around what's stacked in my office. I know it's an absolute disaster. It's kind of been that way ever since I found out I got every penny stolen from me, and I'm looking at homelessness here in the near future. Considering I've taken like six people in the last week off the streets, and they're doing good. They're doing good. But let's take a look at what we got going around my office. It's got to get to me. So this is like a light I made. It's fireproof, shockproof, so it's an awesome creeper, fluorescent light. But then I use it to get this green screen. So I made a green screen here like for $2.99 from a shower curtain at a dollar store, and then I mounted some cardboard on the back just to keep it straight. And then you can use a steamer if you want to get the wrinkles out of it. It works awesome. Super cheap, doesn't take up any space. And then what do we got for some books? Okay, so we got piles of books. The World in 2019, just kind of something cool. And then these are all things that this is some of my writing. This is kind of something I'm super excited to. So I'm going to be doing a podcast. I'm actually going to be reading the Playboy 1969 edition. It was just given to me last week as a gift. I'm going to read this article to article, throw it up there, and just see the old legend Hugh Hefner, right back in 1969. This is 15th holiday anniversary issue, and I'm going to be reading the articles on it. And then these are kind of the guiding principles that I go by from, this is, based off of the concept of Ray Dalio's book, Principles. I listened to it several times. It's a wicked audio file. The read's a little bit long, but whatever. Talks about principles. And so I've worked on these for myself, and, authenticity, adaptability, learning, gratitude, courage, integrity, passion, unlearning, forgiveness, and awareness. Okay, and faith. Faith is the big one, right? And then there's like a little timeline. That's kind of like my life, 1977 to 1922. That's going to be, half-hour segments of each of those, so you can kind of get to know me a little bit on the roadmap to who I am. And then business cards, got to make some business cards, going to go out and pound some doors and like, hey, I do Google reviews for Kelowna businesses. This is where I live. I want this place to like rock. It's already rocking. I just want it to rock more, and I want to share it with the world a little bit more. And then I'm really going to focus on the Chinese population, because there's a lot of tourists coming here, and I speak some pretty darn good Chinese. Hey, speaking of Chinese, these are some Chinese tea. These are some of the other prizes that you're going to win. This is some wicked, that is one of my oolong teas. Super awesome quality tea. I've got some oolongs and some greens that are in there, and that would pair really well with a custom-made tea table, just like this. So this is the custom-made tea trays that I'm making. So that one in there, that's the Chinese word for trust that's engraved. And so what you do, just, typical tea culture, you don't really need to touch this, and you don't have to move this from your tea table, because you can use your boiled water, and you can rinse it all, and then it goes down the grooves that are in there, and it goes into a container under your desk or wherever you have it. Custom made, because a lot of them are just rectangle, and as you can see, I got a lot of stuff here. So I didn't want this space. I wanted the space for writing. So I made my own, and it turned out awesome. Love it. And so there's quite a few of those that are going to be won, and you get to custom made it. So you tell me your dimensions, you tell me what you want engraved in it, and then where you want the spout, kind of, how you want it to slope, that kind of thing. And let's take a look at the books that I read. Just kind of tell you, this is stuff that I've been reading forever. So we got financial statements, marketing 504, management accounting, operational management, organizational theory. That's one of my favorite books. And then culture change, the Samsung way, analysis paralysis, think better. What else we got in there? The Walmart way, and 3D space, contemporary management, and corporate finance. So those are some of them that are in there. And then this stack we got over here. So these are all some of my journals that I'm writing, or that I have been writing. Those are all full. And then there's one of the sample ones that'll be one of the ones that everybody that registers in the draw gets. The 3 secrets of Reiki, Tao Te Chi. I'm pretty excited about that, because I've long wanted to be into Reiki, and I've actually, it started my my second year of nursing, when I was working with a private home care agency that specialized and focused in palliative care. And the experience, that's a whole other story. That's in the kind of the life map there. But absolutely amazing. Scared the bejeepers out of me. So I kind of ran away from it, and now I'm going back into it. Do what you want. And then what else we got in here? We got Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. Totally recommend it. Grit by Angela Dickworth. That's kind of a neat one about the kind of development of humans. And then this Erotti XXX. So that's more of a game for adults, for lovers. It's got to explore your sexuality and open up to talk about it, that kind of thing. Kind of a gentle way to do it. Pretty cool. And then this is going to be the one that I'm reading for sure. Is one I'm really focused on. Is called The Abstinence Myth by Dr. Jaffe. Okay, now this guy, he's the game changer in my life, and I hope it does the same for others. That's why I'm so passionate about this. This is so it's about addiction and that kind of thing and mental health and that kind of, but the reason I say addiction and that kind of thing is because he's, had his battles with drugs and stuff, and he didn't like the research of anything that was working. And to be quite honest, neither do I. Looks like you just threw a rock by a window or something. I don't know. Maybe it was a bird. I had a bird flying here last week. Anyway, and then here's so I got my cheat boards here. And this is kind of the idea of I got to just start streamlining some of this stuff because it's got to get out and it's got to get done now. So what's the vision here? How? Where are we now? And where am I getting? Who am I? And then why am I qualified? And who are you? And why do you need this? And then there's some of the history's background of me. And then number 6, what the numbers appeal to me. Okay, so hey, I'm a B Corp kind of guy. I'm all about money. Don't think I'm not about money. Just because I like helping people doesn't mean I'm not about money. And then top line approaches or bottom line approaches. So both of them are going to work. And then the synergies and why. So this is going to be how the synergies work with some of the ideas depending on which stakeholder you are identified in when it is when I talk about that number 4, and then the principles we talked about, and then crazy story. There's some crazy stories, and then of course there's gonna be a little bit more. Who cannot not. Oh, there's Taiwan right in front of me. So it's another thing I'm really passionate about. Is not just mental health and addiction and that whole space, which, I hate the word mental health. I'm trying to drop it from my vocabulary, but you got to say it because people are saying it. But it's been branded negatively. And here's the thing. When you brand something negatively, guess what? Nobody really wants to help it or be around it, right? Like a negative brand is a negative brand. That's all there is to it. Really hard to change. First impression is super, super hard to change of anybody. If anybody says they don't judge by looks, please take the driver's license away and say that's a really bad idea. Anyway, Taiwan. Yeah, so Taiwan's going to be a big part of my component of people that I want to connect with, some of the businesses and the products and the experiences in the Okanagan. Like I said, I think I live in heaven, and the reason I want to do this is 2 reasons. I want to do, that's why we bought this place. And 2, I literally fell in love with this place, and I want to share heaven with the rest of the world. Literally, this is an amazing opportunity to be here. Grateful for the chance that I've had up till now. All of these lights, okay, this is kind of interesting. Doesn't make up me or whatever, but these lights are for helping the green screen, okay? And then these 2 lights here, that round one and the 2 round ones, you need those. I'm just telling you right now, you need them. Sleep, health, okay? You're living in North America, you're above the equator, you got an irregular sunlight, different patterns. You need those things. Get them. They're awesome. They're cheap, and they'll change your life for sure. Okay, we got the technology. We got Logitech camera, printers in the back. And then this is awesome. This little Wacom stylus notepad thing. Turn your computer into a whiteboard, basically. Love it. Super cool drawing stuff. And got the old coffee grinder because, hey, I do believe that my tests tell me alone that psilocybin is actually a really useful tool for some of the people that are going through depression, anxiety, and that kind of stuff. And then what else we got in here? Oh, this is one of my favorite teas right there. And then these are some other teas that'll be one. This is another one, a green, I believe, that there's, I think, 100 of those that'll be one. And then my bracelets for my kids. Okay, this is my boys' soccer one, and some hats up there. And then some Chinese. This is some different medicines, some different herbs that get mixed with, depending on the condition with the psilocybin dosing, microdosing. I tailor it to kind of what is more traditionally accepted as alternative herbs for that specific characteristic. And this is like, it's so far I'm just saying the results are awesome. And then one of my idols there, Mr. Einstein, right? Einstein. And I love when he says, hey, who's the smartest guy in the world? I don't know. You have to ask him. Alexander Teslov. Okay, 369, right? And I got a picture of my dad up there and my picture of my masters. And what else we got? Just backpacks. There's some telescope stuff in there. And this is some stuff down here because also more stuff I'm passionate about. So teaching and learning Chinese, cooking, and then writings. 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. That's a really cool book. I've had this forever. The benefits of marijuana. I got that, I think, my first year at university. Physical examination history. I had some owies here that I had to deal with yesterday. Ethics and responsibility and sustainability. So that is kind of what I'm about. And then the marketing playbook. Just some stuff like that from school. And yeah, I've got some telescope parts in there and lots of stuff hanging on the back of the door. Totally a absolute disaster. I know that. Oh, and then these, I'm super cool about this. So, along the lines of Reiki, just understanding the Chinese meridians and stuff like that. That's super excited to that. Got the espresso machine, got all kinds of stuff. All the toys you see around here, they're all just kind of remind me of my kids. Some of the other books we got in here is, some Lee Child Life of Pi, one of my favorite fiction books. And then some Gary John Bishop books back there, a few Chinese ones. And then, just all kinds of notes. Projectors and all kinds of stuff. There's the Church of Tao, right? Okay, that's the cover prefer the original one back in the day, and it's been modernized now to be a little more all-inclusive. And here we go, going outside. This is kind of where the action is expected to happen, okay? This is where I want to be more of a community place. So this is an outside office. I love it out here. That door opens up there. Church now, kicking it, right? And like I said, big tea house. There's another tea table. This one's not done yet. And I tried some color. I don't think I like the color, but that's kind of the idea. So that's a tea tray right there that came from Taiwan. That was given to me. And that's kind of the idea, right? So that's a little bit old and dirty, but basically everything gets washed on there, and then you drain it into a vessel of your choice. And then the boat will be gone. And then this is going to be kind of all opened up in here for a little bit of more of a podcast community kind of highlight, where people would stop by on a given topic, and we're going to be talking about it. It'll be predetermined, and as long as the chairs are full, then it's kind of not open to be walked in. But if they're not open, you're more than able to walk in and talk about the topic of the day. And so a lot of things we're going to be talking about is value, value proposition, and your own personal value statement, that kind of thing. Because if you don't know it, I can tell you what you're worth. And then the other things we're going to be talking about, highlighting things in Kelowna, highlighting the Okanagan from locals that are here when it's kind of the off season. Let's say, tell me your favorite Italian restaurant, or favorite things to do on a rainy day, and what have you. Those are kind of the things that I want to be focused on. And then the other things I want to be doing is support. So there'll be a lot of talk shows about like different support systems around here for young entrepreneurs and businesses, and ways they can look for synergies, right? There's a new world happening. And the reason I chose Kelowna, like why we relocated here, wasn't our first choice, but after we had a whole bunch of money stolen from us in the land deal, we got lucked out and ended up here. Excuse me. So Kelowna, the entrepreneurial vibe, fast growing city in Canada for the next 5 years? Totally think so. And what's cool about it is it's adaptable. It just keeps flowing and ticking and ticking. And then it's got the beauty of it, right? Like the Okanagan trifecta, fishing, golfing, and skiing all in one day. That's kind of cool. So I think when people say it's recession proof, I typically kind of agree with them. There's one place like this in the world, and I know that's the same as about everybody, but hey, the Okanagan trifecta is kind of a cool thing to do. Anyway, and yeah, then inside the house there, which is super, super messy right now, there you're looking at the bed and breakfast, and then the place where I do also, my vision, what's happening there is not totally what my vision is, and it is what it is. Hey, but I'm still making a difference in people's lives, and that is kind of good enough for me. I hope I can do it. Continue to do it, and I hope I can do it in a little bit more of a bit more of a less risque manner, and a little bit more optimal output. I really want to focus on entrepreneurial incubators, that kind of thing, joining synergies and allow startups and new ideas to thrive. And so one of the things that came to me when COVID came, you start following the money, right? Watch the money, always follow the money. So you got the big guys up top, right? The Gates and the big corporations. They're making some bank, man. They're making some big money. There's more of the Bezos, like Netflix, those things. There's more money in the world now than there's ever been, and there's a lot of it going there. But then there's a lot of it in the middle. The middle slowed down, right? Because the income distribution gap has been widening all the time. But in the middle, the economy kind of slowed down. So the work and output of most of the nations around the world slowed down. So there's a lot less income there. So yeah, the governments came out with some subsidy stuff, but a lot of people have lost employment or reduced employment or reduced earning potential, but there's still that money. So when the government's giving out money to these people, and then there's more of it, they're not working, where do you think it goes? Goes to the dark side. More money going on in the dark side right now than you would ever imagine. Now that should scare you, but I can tell you, sticking your head in the sand like we've been doing for the last 15, 20 years that I've kind of been old enough to pay attention to it, I don't think it's working. That's why a different approach. So I'm doing a different approach. And like I said, positive impact on at least one person's life, and I'm going to call my life a success. But right now, I think I'm at about a dozen or more that in contact with, and they're still doing good. Had some that fall off and relapse and go into their thing or whatever, and whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm not that kind of person. Like, hey, it's like, yeah, don't try that hard. I'm going to give you a lot of tools, give you a lot of support, give you a lot of non-judgmental, fresh starts and clean ideas and cool tools, but it's going to take some work. Got to take some work. Okay. And I really focus on the online stuff and education. Just like focus on the opportunity. Don't focus on the negatives and the branding that they've already been and how they've been labeled and what they think they are. That's 90% of it. Once you get labeled, it's pretty hard to break the label. It's people just become what they're labeled as because it's easier than going against the grain all the time. Anyway, Church Now, totally, looking for you to buy a Bible and become the author of the ending of the movie, of this movie called Your Life. Okay, start to take charge of it through a concept of bullet journaling with intention. That's the course that everybody gets that enrolls will have access to a live course for 21 days. Where I'm going to show you the techniques of bullet journaling that I've used and studied, and then you kind of adapt it your own. And yeah, of course, you get the journal, which I call the Bible, which is made from a Canadian company that I picked. I know it's not the cheapest, but I didn't pick them for the cheapest. I picked them for what they do, kind of B Corp certified, and then the companies that they produce things for are also B Corp certified. Now, there's not all of them that actually have the certification, but when I looked at the companies they work with, they all have that component of adding social good kind of programmed into what they would determine profitable, part of their profit chain, which is what I think, man, that's the change in the world that's going on right now. Greed was cool for a while, but we went to the point, and I think now there's an opportunity for us to create a little bit more of a, let's get that income distribution gap a little bit narrowed down. And basically, trust me, I ain't about, nobody's got to be the same and not that kind of thing. But we do need to take a look at a reevaluation. When I look at Canada, I think Canada is like one of the richest countries in the world, and yet I see after this COVID, I drove across the country for mental health and Canadian local businesses, and I saw the businesses getting slowed down. And I see the people on the street. There's a lot of people suffering, financially suffering. Richest country in the world with a very sparse population, and yet we have suffering. Something's not making sense in my mind. So what we do, reevaluation. Okay, I'd say reevaluation, start your own cryptocurrency, become self-sufficient, show the world by example how to do it in times of globalization hiccups or times you need to shut it down, and then boom, adapt. So you got a cryptocurrency which is domestic only, and one thing you got to do is, come on, let's take a look at inflation. What do we do when we don't calculate the cost of housing? Okay, well, that's a neat idea to say your inflation is only going up 1 or 2% a year, but what about the houses that went up like 15% year after year? So anyway, that's just some of the things that I'm kind of passionate about, and then not gonna get into Taiwan too much. So I'm gonna save that for Chinese, but big one coming, and there's an actual real reason, not just because I might be homeless by 15th, but no, well, yeah, maybe, I don't know, hard to say. I'm kind of just crawling out from under my depression, embarrassment, the shame. Never felt more guilty about anything in my life or stupid in my life, but it is time to lick the wounds. And yeah, man, I got roasted hard, roasted. Yeah, cybercrime is real. Cybercrime is real. Hey, anyway, share the love, share. And there's going to be a Twitch schedule. I'm going to go live because like my content, like I said, actually, one of the people that I helped that had a pretty bad abdominal injury, he's a writer and a content creator, and he's trying to help me. He's like, man, I have been listening to you, and he's like, I can't stop listening to you, but it is so hard to catch what I want to put into writing, like quick enough to attract and entertain. Like, you got an encyclopedia going on in there, and I just can't keep up. And I'm like, I know, man. He's like, and I'm like, what do you think? Is it audio? Is it video? Is it what is it? And he's like, dude, man, he's like, people see you present, like, he's like, you're contagious. And I'm like, I know I am, but I'm contagious in a good way. But the only thing I really give you is the gaff, right? That's the gaff, baby. Gaff, what's the gaff? Well, the gaff is this thing that I infected a company back when I was a regional sales manager, and turned down about $1 million a year earning opportunity, but fired it up, like just turned it up. And I told them all, I'm just like, I'm so scared. I'm so sorry. You guys, you're gonna have to talk to your loved ones. I can see it. It's been about 2 months, 3 months now since we started making some real big changes. And one of them was finding out what your value proposition was, and the second one was realizing who your most important customer was. And that in that location, it was the coworkers. Okay, that's the number one customer, because if you can't make their job easier, then, well, then how do you think that business is going to work well? So anyway, the gaff, it is called, they give a flip factor. There's another word that sometimes goes in there, and it's that thing where you just start having a little more pep in your step. You start not watching the clock. Maybe you realize you're not even selling your time for money, and you're just doing it because you love to do it, and you're adding value to the people that you serve. It's kind of the concept behind Church Now.